Hey you, pay attention. Welcome back to the channel. Somewhat United with Nathan. I'm Nathan. If you don't know that by now, it's no one else here, so it has to be me. I'm going to do a preview of UFC on ESPN plus 37. Okay, these names are going to get weird eventually, the numbers in particular. I think it's Moraes versus Sandhagen, and 6 fights at the card. I only do main cards because that's all that's visible on TV. That's all I can get to. So without further ado, let's get into it. For the record, guys, I had to do some research for these cards because a lot of people have taken fights on short notice. They don't have a UFC record, so I had to kind of like check all their fights and see all their regional fights and all. So bear with me. My picks might not be so great this week, but fights are fights, it's fun to watch. So we go first with Topuria versus vszalal. And Topuria is an up-and-coming prospect out of Spain. He's 8-0, I believe. He has he has all finishes, I believe, and 7 finishes in the first round. I think he's taking this fight on 3 weeks notice, and he's going to go against vszalal, who's from Morocco. He is 10-2, I believe. He is only lost by decision. His 2 losses are by decision. He has 7 finishes and 3 decisions. All 3 decisions being in the UFC. So it's an indication that he's quite durable. And I pick him to win by decision, mainly because the fight's on short notice, and based on Topuria's record, if it doesn't go past the first round, we get to see what he can do as it goes into the later rounds. So if Topuria is going to get it through, I think he's going to blitz him in the first round and try to put him away. But Zalal himself has not been finished, so it's going to be tough. And I take Zalal by decision. Then we have Tom Aspinall and Alan Bodo. Tom Aspinall's from England. He's 8-2. He's all finishes, and he's a heavyweight, I believe. And I think Alan Bodo is actually a light heavyweight, and I think he's taking this fight. He's moving up a weight class to take his entry fight into the UFC. He's a French fighter. He's 8-1. His only loss is by knockout, and he's mostly fought for in the European regional scene. And he'll be welcome to the octagon against a heavyweight. So things are not in his favor from the beginning, but he could be the lighter and quicker fighter. So we have to see, because he also has a very good record, and Aspinall is no slouch, but he is all finishes, and I think this is going to continue. I think Tom Aspinall's only been to 1 decision, I think, and I think he's going to get it done. I think it's going to be a first round KO. I think he's going to be too big, too powerful for him, and Aspinall likes to finish fights, so I think he's going to be very aggressive, and I think he's going to get the newcomer out in 1 round. Tom Aspinall, first round KO. Then we have Duplessy versus Marcus Perez. Duplessy is a welterweight and middleweight, and he's a former KSW champion. He's taken this fight on, I think, 3 weeks notice against Marcus Perez. And Marcus Perez is a Brazilian. He's lost 3 of his last 5 fights, and all by decision. And all of his losses are by decision. All 3 of his losses. And he's a very durable fighter. And he faces this newcomer on short notice, Duplessy, who is, I believe, South African. He's also an EFC middleweight champion, which is the #1 promotion in South Africa. And he fights at 2 weight classes. He fought at 2 weight classes for KSW. He's 14-2, all finishes, 9 submissions. So he likes to submit people. He's going to go up against Marcus Perez, and I don't know if he can submit him. I don't know if Marcus Perez's submission game is good. I'm sure he's a black belt, but I don't know how good he is in comparison. He has never been finished so far. I think Duplessy is going to be aggressive because it's a short notice fight, and I think he's going to try and submit him. I think he's going to finish Marcus Perez for the first time, but in second round, by submission, I think, because he has a submission heavy record, and I think that's his way to victory. He's clearly good at it. Then we have Big Ben Rothwell versus Marcin Tibura. So here we have a long time welterweight contender, Big Ben Rothwell from America, versus Marcin Tibura, who's from Poland. And Ben Rothwell basically has over 50 MMA fights. He's finished 34 wins out of his 38. He loves to win by knockout. He has a lot of knockouts. He has a lot of power. He has a very awkward style, and he goes against Marcin Tibura, who has been knocked out. He's going to be the smaller fighter. He's quite small actually for the weight class. He's quite light too. He's a much lighter heavyweight for the weight class. Normally they're all around 240, 250, and I believe Tabura doesn't get higher than 240 really, and he's going to be the shorter fighter. And he's on a 2-fight win streak right now, but I feel like Big Ben Rothwell is too good, and he's going to show he is the elder statesman. He's going to show he's too skillful for Marcin Tabura, and I think he's going to get him in the second round KO. Yeah, because Marcin Tabura has shown he can be knocked out. He's a very active fighter. He likes to move around a lot. He likes to win by a lot of decisions. But I think if he doesn't become proactive in this fight somehow and manages to get a lot of points in at the beginning by being more aggressive and getting more attacks in, I think Ben Rothwell is going to walk him down and knock him out in the second round eventually. I think he's going to hurt him in the first and put him away in the second. Then we have the co-main event, which is Edson Jr. Barboza versus Makwan, Mr. Finland, Amir Khani. And so we have long time lightweight contender, long time. He has fought the best of the best in the lightweight division. He's going to be dropping down for his second fight in featherweight. He's dropping down again. He lost his featherweight debut by a split decision over Danny Gay. Edson Barboza has one of the best striking knockouts, I think, in all of MMA. His spinning wheel knockout of Terry Atom. He has kicks that basically put you away if you allow him to. He's one of two fighters to only have finishes by leg kick, body kick, and head kick multiple times. He's one of two fighters who have done that more than once. And his kicking game is outstanding, but what happens is he tends to gas out. He tends to have a really strong first round, and then he tends to gas out because he pours a lot into his striking. And he's lost 5 of his last 6, but he's faced the absolute best fighters in the world, especially at 155. He tried to have a career renaissance by dropping down. The first match was contentious in featherweight division. Many people thought he won, but he eventually got a loss. He's looking back to avenge that loss. He's trying to get back on track. 5 out of 6. He's trying to right the ship against Makwan Amir Khani, who's a wrestler who trains in Sweden All Stars MMA, and he's a Finnish fighter. I think he's actually a Kurdish man, but his family is moved to Finland, and then he trains out of Sweden because that's like the best gym is right now in that area in Scandinavia, MMA All Stars in Sweden. And he's a very wrestling heavy fighter. He likes to win by submission or by decision. He likes to wrestle a lot if he can. And I just think that Edson Barboza it's not a good matchup for him. And I think Amir Khani is going to wrestle him to a decision, I think, or get a submission maybe, because he has 11 submission wins. So I think a late submission or a decision by Amir Khani. I'm going to go and say Makwan Amir Khani wins by 3rd round submission or a decision. I think he's going to use his wrestling a lot, and Edson Barboza shows that his wrestling defense is his weak point, and he doesn't like to grapple. He wants to stand and bang, basically. So yeah. Then we have an anticipated highly ranked bantamweight affair in the men's division, 135 pounds. Corey Sandhagen, as people like to call him, and Marlon Moraes. And I think Marlon Moraes is the number 1 contender in the bantamweight division. I think Sandhagen is number 5, so it's a top 5 affair. And Marlon Moraes is coming off a split decision win over Jose Aldo. Many people thought he lost that fight, but it was given to him a win by the judges. And he's taking on Sandhagen, who lost in 90 seconds by submission against Aljamain Sterling, who's going to fight for the belt next in the division. And lots of people fell off his hype train because he lost so devastatingly. And people are wondering if he's going to bounce back. Now, Sandhagen is a tall, lanky fighter, so he can get different angles. He's a very well-rounded fighter. And I think that eventually that he's going to win by decision. I think he's just going to be too tall. He's going to stay out of range of Marlon Moraes' kicks and his attacks. He's taller, so Marlon Moraes might have to outstretch a little more, to cover that distance. I think every time he does that, he's going to make him pay with a counter hook. And basically, I think that's going to be how it is for 5 rounds, and I think he's going to win by decision because I think he has a lot to prove, and I think he's going to be laser focused after that very, very shocking loss to Aljamain Sterling. So I'm going to go Corey Sandhagen by decision. Those are my picks for this week's UFC, guys. I hope you have a good week. I hope you enjoy the fights. Another week from Abu Dhabi. I think it's going to be till the end of the month. And if you like the video, please like, please share, please subscribe to the channel. I love doing these videos. Feedback would be great. If you have any comments, please drop them down below. And hope you have a nice week of fights.